of manipulation and bullying. And tonight, a growing number of former Miss Americas are coming forward in support of Munn, and they're calling for the resignation of the pageant's entire board of directors. Trace Gallagher is on the case. Good evening, Trace.
Good evening, Shannon. In just a matter of weeks, this has gone from back-channel grumblings within the pageant to accusations and allegations being laid out in the national media. The tipping point likely came Friday when the reigning Miss America, Cara Munn, wrote and released a 5-page letter saying she'd been bullied by pageant CEO Regina Hopper and chairwoman Gretchen Carlson, a former Fox News anchor. Cara Munn wrote in part, quoting, "Our chair and CEO have systematically silenced me, reduced me, marginalized me, and essentially erased me in my role as Miss America in subtle and not so subtle ways on a daily basis." She goes on to claim she's been left out of interviews, not invited to meetings, and called the wrong name. But last night, Gretchen Carlson hit back at Cara Munn on Twitter, quoting, "Actions have consequences." Friday, as an organization, we learned that $75,000 in scholarships, which would have been the first scholarship increase in years, is no longer on the table as a direct result of the explosive allegations in your letter. Carlson did not explain exactly how the scholarship money was lost, and before her tweet was fully absorbed in the social media bloodstream, a petition with 20,000 signatures, 27 state organizations, and 21 former Miss Americas were calling on Carlson and CEO Regina Hopper to step down. 3 former Miss Americas also called out Carlson today on NBC and ABC. Watch.
This person has taken no responsibility for the way she's treated our current Miss America. For Cara Munn to write a 5-page letter explaining for her, through her year, how she's been treated is appalling.
We are not going to do the victim shaming here. I'm sure she didn't want that when she was part of the Me Too movement. And I think that the sponsorships will return when they see that we are willing to do the right thing.
Carissa Cameron Jackson is referring, of course, to Gretchen Carlson's sexual harassment allegations against then Fox News chairman Roger Ailes. The Miss America pageant has also released a statement saying it supports Cara Munn, but says her letter contains mischaracterizations and unfounded accusations. Shannon.
Trace Gallagher, thank you very much. Now tonight, joining us exclusively, another former Miss America who is adding her name to the call for the entire board to step down. Miss America 2011, Teresa Scanlon joins us. Welcome, Teresa.
Thank you for having me.
I want to read a little bit more of Cara Munn's letter. She said the rhetoric about empowering women and openness and transparency is great. However, the reality is quite different. She went on to talk about being controlled, manipulated, silenced, and bullied. What was your reaction when you saw this letter that she went public asking for other former Miss America's help?
Well, first of all, I found her letter incredibly brave because it's always difficult to speak up when people in power are involved in these situations, and she knows full well, of course, that there may be some backlash or impact against her as the reigning Miss America. And so Cara's letter was really impressive to me because even now we see in some of the statements that the Miss America organization has issued, they are in many ways now blaming her and saying that she should not have spoken up, which is exactly what she was talking about when she referenced being silenced constantly, and it's sad to see that that's just continuing.
And I want to read a little bit more of what Gretchen Carlson, obviously formerly here at Fox News, now chair of the Miss America board, put out a lengthy Twitter statement last night, and part of it she said, "I want to be clear that I've never bullied or silenced you." She went on to talk about what Trace mentioned, their actions have consequences. We've now lost $75,000 in scholarships as a direct result of the explosive allegations in your letter. A lot of folks had a visceral reaction to that, feeling like they are now putting blame on her for speaking up and going public.
Well, that's exactly what I thought when I saw that. I had waited for some time to form my own opinions about this. We had a conference call with Gretchen a couple days ago in which she tried to answer questions that many former Miss Americas had and then released this statement. And while I don't think her intentions are bad, I don't think she's fully understanding the impact of the things that she's saying and doing. So she had initially said that Cara should have come to her privately rather than writing a letter to all of us. And now she's doing the exact same thing, right? She wrote this letter to Cara, but then released it on Twitter, in which she's blaming Cara for things and saying that she needs to support the pageant. So in a way, again, silencing her in the exact way that Cara explained. So when I saw that, it really confirmed for me what's going on here and made me realize that I do need to stand with Cara, and as many former Miss Americas are, to support her in this, and the bravery that it took to come forward and the retribution that she might be facing as well. On Gretchen's side, I love her and respect her as a person, but I think that as a leader right now, she needs to understand the responsibility she has for the impact that her actions and words have caused. And that's very different than having good intentions, because her intentions may be good, but the impact is still there in what Cara's feeling. And she hasn't really accepted that, and I've seen no true apology from her, which is concerning to say the least.
Well, let me read you something a bit snarky, I will admit, from Ellen Sherberg from Biz Woman Journal. She says, this brouhaha between the current Miss America, whose name I admit I never knew, and the reigning pageant executives, including Gretchen Carlson, seems much ado about nothing. Trying to turn a beauty pageant into a socially responsible feminist celebration of womankind always seemed far-fetched to me. By trying to be all things to all women, Miss America went from irrelevant to irritating in less time than it takes to produce another pageant. Full disclosure, from my time as Miss Virginia and as a Miss America finalist, I mean, the money enabled me to go to college and law school with no debt. So I saw a great benefit from it, but it's obviously in a place of a bit of turmoil and transition now. How do you respond to those who say, like, the program's, just not even worthwhile for women anyway?
Well, similar to you, I was very much the same. I won Miss America when I was just 17 years old, and it was prior to college for me, but I completed my undergrad debt-free, and I'm now starting my first year of law school at UC Berkeley. I also joined the Air Force and in the Air National Guard now, and I believe that Miss America empowered me to do all of those things, and I'm doing it all while a single mom. And I don't think that I would have ever had these same opportunities. I've been able to do what I've done in life without Miss America. And while we're not all things to all women, I believe that Miss America is an incredibly vital part of our society for women right now in empowering them, giving them a voice, giving them a platform, providing scholarship money, so many things that sure an outsider might not be able to see, but as someone who competed in the program for years and has had that direct firsthand experience, I know what it's done for my life and the life of thousands and even millions of other women.
Yeah, and it's definitely by choice. It's very competitive and selective. It's not for everyone, like you said, but women should have the choice. If this is something they want to do, both of us having benefited greatly, I hope that the program is able to mend these wounds in one way or another and come together and be a positive force for other young women out there. Teresa Scanlon, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, when we return, the latest dust up of her claims that social media is